And we move on to our final year of the episode. This is going to be a long one, but that's A-okay. 2008. We got some bigger entries into the like some big heavy hitter franchises here. In the same year, Batman hits its peak. Marvel hits the scene with Iron Man. Indiana Jones is revived with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And the follow-up to Casino Royale comes out with Quantum of Solace. So, there's a range of quality in that arc there that we talked about. Also, Marvel with the Incredible Hulk. And that would be a good episode eventually. There's a lot of good YouTube content out there. If you ever want to understand how movies are made, The Incredible Hulk is a really good writer's one because it's like utterly disputed forever because of Edward Norton. But then you also have movies of the time like Hancock, Wanted, like just wild ass weird fucking movies. Twilight comes out in 2008. Like there's a range here that we're like,
hey, phenomenon.
It was a phenomenon, not for good reasons. It was a phenomenon. And then you have animation up the wazoo, Wall-E, Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar 2. Then you get a lot of comedies with Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers, Yes Man, kind of the last pure Jim Carrey comedy movie. And then just weird, almost indie style stuff with Slumdog Millionaire and The Wrestler. Just a weird gambit of a year. A lot of range there. If you like any genre of film, you can find it in 2008. You can find a prominent movie.
Yeah. 2008, I actually think is one of the strongest years in terms of like both Oscars and just like general viewership.
Sure.
So for actual nominees for Best Picture, you got the winner is Slumdog Millionaire. The other nominees, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Frost Nixon, Milk, and The Reader.
Okay.
And then director, Danny Boyle for Slumdog Millionaire. Actor is Sean Penn for Milk. Actress, Kate Winslet for The Reader. Supporting actor, the obvious Heath Ledger, Dark Knight win. And then supporting actress, Penelope Cruz for Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Okay.
You got any technical changes?
Yes. Original score. I don't again understand how The Dark Knight is not even nominated, because I think it should win.
I have a nomination down for that as well.
I think either Why So Serious or A Dark Knight should be put in as nominations, and frankly, I think either deserves it over whatever the fuck won. Can't remember because I was just mad. I just went, what the fuck? Compared to those two. It's more so, but I love a certain style of score. It's a subjective.
Are you talking about song or score?
Score.
Okay, well, that just means score as a whole. So, yeah. Score is... The score nominations are Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Defiance, Milk, Slumdog Millionaire, which won, and Wall-E.
Yep. Dark Knight's better than all of them. Better than all of them.
I would argue...
However,
I would argue it's not better than all of them.
And however,
I would argue it's not better than Wall-E or Slumdog Millionaire, but
I would also say this. Really happy Defiance got some noms. Defiance is a movie no one knows about. Great movie. I love Defiance. No one talks about that movie.
That's the only nomination it got.
I know, but I'm just glad it got something. Okay? Defiance is a really good movie that no one ever talks about.
Wanted got 2 nominations.
you can talk about Wanted because I know you fucking loved that movie for so long.
I did. I did love that movie when it came out. It was so
You were
good.
obsessed with Wanted, and the fact that in a year that had The Dark Knight and you were more obsessed with Wanted legitimately pissed me off. Like I was just like, fuck off, Dylan. Like, what are you doing? So either I could say for I guess score since it's the total thing, I would say The Dark Knight. Either on the song, I would say Why So Serious. If I got to say a single song from it to hit the tone of the movie, Why So Serious or A Dark Knight could do it for me. But I guess I would probably for the tone of the movie
You,
go Why So
you
Serious.
for song, you rarely get one that doesn't have lyrics in it.
Yeah,
Very, very rarely.
yeah. So that's
Um,
why I went more score
and
on that, not understanding it as well.
this is also a strange year because there's only 3 nominations for best song.
Weird.
Usually there's 5, almost always 5. There's only like a couple years where they did 3. So 2 songs from Slumdog Millionaire and then one from Wally.
No Mamma Mia, no Sex in the City. Wow, crazy. Also, I should have
I
mentioned
don't
them.
know. Well, Mamma Mia wouldn't be eligible because those are, I don't think they're original songs
Sure, but
made for the movie. I don't
I
think.
I also only brought those up because they do deserve to be said in the zeitgeist of the year. As much as it pains me how much Sex in the City I've seen in my lifetime with the wife that I am married to,
Sure.
but it is actually pretty important to a whole heck of a lot of people. So, and it's pretty wild that it ever
I've
got to
never
that.
seen a single episode, and I never will.
It's there are a few episodes that are actually pretty good, but it's just not it. It's nonsense for the most part. And Mamma Mia, the only thing I know about Mamma Mia is Pierce Brosnan and Amanda Seyfried in it. Meryl Streep in that movie? Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I know about Mamma Mia, and I obviously know part of the soundtrack that everybody fucking knows.
Yeah.
That's it. So, to continue technical categories, though, visual effects, I actually could see a shout out for The Incredible Hulk. I think the effects in The Incredible Hulk are very good.
Only 3 nominees again. Here's
Stupid.
Case of Benjamin Button, 1. The other nominees were The Dark Knight and Iron Man.
I know Benjamin Button was all the de aging stuff
Yes.
and the aging stuff. I couldn't argue it. It's one of those. That's one of those. It's a shame in both ways to me. It's a shame because no one gives a flying fuck about that movie past the year that it comes out.
I like that movie
I'm
quite a
not.
bit, actually.
I'm not shitting on the movie. I've never seen it. It was just more so being of a certain age and a certain ilk at that time, just going like,
Oh, sure.
whatever. Again, it's my own biases that I have to get over. It's just like it's a crying shame because for what it actually does for visual effects is very, very important. And
Yes.
we're still seeing studios, major houses of effects companies struggle to do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
So I can't shout that I can't say that it doesn't deserve its win. It does. But then it's also got stuff against it that has so much more cultural impact that it's like one of those like catch 22s where well it should because
Yeah.
Iron Man or like the visual effects in Iron Man are incredible. Just incredible. But at the same time it's not it doesn't push forward a very very difficult thing in visual effects the same way Benjamin Button does.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, in, let's say, 20 years, if someone like me, if, like, some kid goes back and watches all these Oscar movies, like I have been, like, there's times when I go back and watch visual effects or something like that, or like art direction or something like that, and I go, why the hell did this win? And I just don't understand why it won. People will do that with Benjamin Button because I'm sure that de aging stuff will slowly get better and better and better over the next 20 years, and it will look so bad comparatively.
Yes.
Whereas I think The Dark Knight and Iron Man probably will still hold up a lot better.
And that's the thing is, I wouldn't even argue for The Dark Knight. It's one of the few categories I wouldn't argue The Dark Knight wins.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I understand why Benjamin Button won, and I actually would agree that it deserves its win, but I don't think it's going to actually hold up the best out of those three movies.
Right. Also, I went through notes. I couldn't find it. But I wanted to shout out something. Okay, then. This in our episode. I did want to note this from a previous episode that I failed on. 1995 visual effects. Casper. Needs to get some more fucking recognition. That shit's glorious. Can't remember if it was nominated or not. It's incredible visual effects. Incredible.
I think we mentioned it.
I can't remember if we did, so I just wanted to note it because I was watching it on Halloween and just going, holy shit, this is really good, especially for 1995.
I'm fairly certain I mentioned it.
But Casper, fucking great. I just couldn't remember, so I had to note that down, just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, visual effects.
It's impressive.
Visual effects, I just thought maybe a nod. Just a shout out to The Incredible Hulk, I think is pretty good. Writing, I think definitely The Dark Knight deserves original screenplay. I definitely.
I put a nomination down. Yep.
I definitely think they deserve a nomination for that. And then we can get to Big Six.
Okay. The only other one I had down is original screenplay. I would have went WALL-E over Milk.
Okay.
But that's just personal preference. I love WALL-E more than most people I know, so.
WALL-E is one of those that it got almost a little too much critical praise compared to some of the other animated films of its time.
Not to me.
I know, but it was for a lot of people that had gone through Incredibles and Ratatouille, and then years after Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, like that era of animation, Up as well. The fact that WALL-E kind of got more critical discussion over all of those movies kind of painted the picture for a lot of people like, fuck WALL-E comparatively, which isn't inherently fair. It's not the movie's fault that people in critical circles really liked WALL-E. But when you go back and watch WALL-E, for most people that aren't you kind of go, it's good. Like, that was my reaction.
Top 10 movie for me.
When I watched WALL-E, I just went, it's good. I was just like, okay. It's good.
In terms of, like, the videos I watched of they did this really cool thing, which I actually really like and I really hate, where they had 5 past winners come out and then present the awards.
Sure.
Which is both really cool, but also really stupid and really annoying because it really, really prolongs the whole show, because then you have to have a standing ovation for all of them.
Yep.
Where you have like 2 minutes standing ovation for 5 winners. Super annoying. But I only mention it because I imagine, because each past winner talks about one of the nominees.
Yeah.
So, like, the supporting actress presenters were Eva St. Marie, Whoopi Goldberg, Tilda Swinton, Goldie Hawn, and Angelica Houston. And all I imagine is, like, there's definitely a couple of those where you're like, ooh, I hope I get that one talking about me, Where you're like, I don't want Whoopi talking about me. I want Eva St. Marie talking about me. Like, I just thought it was funny. Like, who's getting the short end of the stick here?
It certainly does feel sometimes when they pull that one out of the hat. There's always like 3 of them. You're like, yeah, and then there's one where you're like, I get it, and then there's one where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot they won.
Well,
Like Nicolas Cage. Didn't they just do one with Nicolas Cage? And you're like, what?
um,
What is this? And I'm not like Nicolas Cage has done actually a lot of good
I don't
recent
know if
work.
I don't know if they've ever done it past this year, honestly.
They just did
But
something like
he has
that.
presented before because they always have the one who won the year before present. So
I swore I
yeah,
saw a
but
clip or something that was just like maybe it wasn't the Oscars, I don't know, but it was like 5 actors doing it, and it was clearly like Nicolas Cage was clearly the odd one out of the bunch. Where I know his more recent work that's been really correctly praised has earned him some more respect in those circles, but it was just like so weird with us growing up in the generation of Nicolas Cage just being in utter garbage after utter garbage movie to then see like Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage, and you just go, "What?"
Yeah, and then just to cover the guild part, pretty much Slumdog Millionaire was going in a favorite. It won Critics' Choice, Producers Guild, a Golden Globe, and a BAFTA. Danny Boyle swept everything for director. The best actor race was between Mickey Rourke and Sean Penn. That's it. Heath Ledger swept everything. He was gonna win. That was a given.
Is that
And
performance
then
based? Is that sympathy based, or both?
both.
I think that's fair.
I truly think it. I think it's truly both. I think it's. I actually don't think it's sympathy based. I think it's performance based and also kind of like a lifetime achievement kind of thing. Because it's like, okay, we're kind of recognizing him as a whole. This, because this is his only chance, really.
Well, apparently
And
he
then
should have won for Brokeback Mountain and never did.
I would somewhat agree. It's hard to argue about because Philip Seymour Hoffman also, I would say, that is a worthy performance. But the big thing to cover this year is so Kate Winslet wins Best Actress for The Reader this year. But the whole guild thing is so strange this year because so she wins a Best Actress BAFTA for The Reader, but then she wins Best Supporting Actress at the Golden Globes for The Reader, and then she wins Best Supporting Actress at the SAG Awards for The Reader. So there was this whole weird split between is she a Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress in that movie. So at the Oscars, she could have. She was obviously nominated for Best Actress, not Supporting Actress. So Best Supporting Actress was really up for grabs because she wasn't even in that category.
You gotta feel if you're in the category, if you just gotta feel that if you're in the category she's not in, ultimate boon, you now have a chance. Because it's clear that no matter what, she was going to win whatever she was in. It just must suck when the nominations come out and you're in the same category and you just went, well, that's my chance.
Yeah. Because I think the only one who probably felt she had a chance was Meryl Streep, who was in Doubt that year, which she is good in that movie. I will give her that.
Shocking. Meryl Streep
And
thinks
she's
she should win. Who would have thought?
I don't think she's as bad as
No,
I think everyone
else is.
It's everyone around her.
Everyone else around here, I will never understand. I have no beef with Meryl Streep, the person or the actress. Everything I've ever seen her in, I'm like, pretty good.
Oh, also, I should have mentioned this in 2007. I'm fairly certain George Clooney said Marion Cotillard, her performance in La Vie en Rose, is the best performance he's ever seen. I forgot to mention that.
Impressive.
Just wanted to say that. Yeah.
He is a big film buff. He is a very big student of the game, and he comes from old Hollywood. Like that's a big deal.
So there was this big. I didn't know that about like she'd win. There was this whole thing about, is she best actress or best supporting actress? But do you have any changes in the 6 categories?
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you do.
So I will at least throw Nom. I would pick him, but it seems like everyone else would say Danny Boyle. I still think Christopher Nolan deserves the best director for.
I'm going to shock you and say I agree.
That is legitimately shocking to me. I
love Slumdog Millionaire way more than most people, I think, but I have to admit, like, The Dark Knight is, like, in terms of scope, it's pretty fucking impressive.
The thing about this is, if you want to say what I'm most bullish about The Dark Knight winning, ironically enough, would not be Heath Ledger.
It would have to be.
The thing is, this is because it feels like the shoe-in. So I was like, I don't have to fight for that one.
Oh, sure.
More so that the ones I would argue the most for would be writing, director, and best picture. It just, what is accomplished in that film? There's not a single ounce of fat on that movie. Zero. And I understand. I'm biased. We just did the review a couple months ago for it, and I was flabbergasted at how much I went in and fell in love with it again because I was watching it through.
What's nominated for editing? Didn't know that.
But the fact
Slumdog.
The fact that Christopher Nolan is not even nominated. This is the year that people start the revolt. This is the year that people go, this is bullshit.
Yes. This is where it becomes a thing like, okay, we obviously need more than 5.
Well, beyond the fact that we need 5, all due respect to anyone else in those categories, I'm not critiquing their work, because it always sucks when you have to start these arguments, because then it makes it seem as though what's in it doesn't deserve to be there. And that's not inherently true in every kind. Sometimes there is a crash, and it doesn't deserve to be there. Sometimes it's not that. You know, there's stacked years like the year before where it's No Country for Old Men, and you're like, well, obviously it deserves to be there. You know, obviously it deserves to win. All that kind of stuff. But this is the distinctive, obvious year in which there is a movie that is not only so good at everything it fucking does, but appeals to a major audience almost unlike anything that comes before it for 20 plus years. And every major audience movie goes, it doesn't even get recognized? And it felt like the Oscars, there was a part of it for audience members that felt like because the Oscars were going to honor Heath Ledger and everyone knew Heath Ledger was going to win, it felt like part of it for audience members, that was the Oscars' way of acknowledging the entire movie, and it's dead wrong for doing that.
Yeah, and I would still say no, this is still kind of the Oscars at its most snooty.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately. Because
this is when they're smelling their own farts, and it's bullshit.
You can look back and say, like, okay, I completely agree, No Country deserves it. The Departed deserves it. Like, they do get stuff right, but they also get stuff wildly wrong in this time. And
I mean, even I don't think it's of the caliber of The Dark Knight, but we talked a lot about Casino Royale. Barely gets any recognition, and it's a legitimately a great movie. It gets like nothing.
Well, it does get nothing,
and it's one of those that you just go, had you just nominated it for one it's thing, you could have avoided a lot of problems. And here, it's, if you would have just said, although it is obviously the best movie of the year, I don't care any discussion, The Dark Knight is better than anything in 2008.
No.
Oh, yeah. But the fact that, had you just nominated Christopher Nolan for director, You probably could have got away with it. You probably could have got away with it and it would have been fine. And an entire internet culture never would have been birthed. But instead, you didn't. Because you're a bunch of snooty fucks smelling your own farts at this time period. And I know the Academy's changed, and it's gotten better, and they changed their rules, and that's great. The rules changed because of one movie, and it's called The Dark Knight.
Somewhat, yeah, sure. I'd agree somewhat. The other nominees in Best Director, other than Danny Boyle, Stephen Daldry for The Reader, David Fincher, Ron Howard, and Gus Van Sant. So,
all good directors.
Yeah, they're all, and I mean, I would easily take out 2 of those to put in Christopher Nolan. So it's like, it is kind of obvious when you look back on it.
It very much just feels like Batman's not a real movie. So we're not going to talk about it. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It doesn't matter. Like, the thing is this, if you go back and look at some of the Oscar winners, you're like, what's interesting about half that shit? But they make something out of something people don't expect, and it becomes great, and it deserves its win. I'm not shitting on any other subject material. You can't say it's bullshit they won't acknowledge this subject material and then shit on other subject material, right? It's just more so like, it very much just feels like, this is this, it has its own place, we don't go to that place, and it's wrong. Just straight up.
At times, yeah. I'd agree at times.
Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
That was the only change I had in terms of those 6 categories. I had a couple shout outs I wanted to make. There's one obvious one that I think I would make. Dev Patel, Slumdog Millionaire.
You're such a Dev Patel fan.
That's my boy.
Is it all because of Slumdog Millionaire?
Pretty much. Well, I actually do like him in like everything I've seen him in.
Here's the thing, Green Knight, weird fucking movie. I'm not sure if it's good. It's a movie. It's a movie. He's very good in that movie.
And I really liked the movie he directed and starred in, Monkey Man. He was good in that. I'm a huge fan of his. Even that cheesy ass movie, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel or whatever.
Oh God,
I like him in that. And then
I feel like Dev Patel is your Michael Keaton, where you're just like, love him, him, don't care, love him.
And then Colin Farrell in Bruges is the other acting shout out.
Never seen it. I need to.
It's really fun.
It's on that perpetual list of one of these days.
Yeah, it's really fun. He actually won the Golden Globe for comedy actor.
Really?
Which I didn't know. It's really surprised me because I was like, hey, that's cool. I didn't know he got any recognition.
Well, he's probably about to win an Emmy or get at least nominated for an Emmy, so.
Good. At least he gets something.
The Penguin series, so good. It is so good. It is so much better.
Underrated forever.
It's so much better than it has any business to be. It's so much better than anyone would expect. Fucking Christ, is that series good. I still haven't caught up on all the last episodes, but the first 4 episodes, you just go, holy shit, this series is good.
So, jump into Best Picture. Any changes?
Do I need to say it?
Other than Dark Knight?
What are the nominees again? Slumdog Millionaire.
So you got Slumdog Millionaire as the winner. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Frost Nixon, Milk, and The Reader.
I don't know who deserves to get taken out for The Dark Knight. One of them does.
I have 2 changes here. I took out Frost Nixon and I took out Milk. Milk, I actually think
like Sean Penn completely deserves the Oscar for that movie. He's great. And in his speech, I don't really like Sean Penn all that much, but he actually really made me laugh because he made a good joke about like how he's at least self-aware of how unlikable he is. Because he's like, what did he say? He said,
he's got a real Bono about him, where Sean Penn is always trying to do like really legitimately really good things. Sean Penn legitimately does fight for really cool things, but it just feels like the South Park episode where people are just sniffing their own farts constantly.
Yeah, no, he said, I do know how hard I make it to appreciate it. So he's at least self-aware about it.
Yeah, it's just, God, he's unlikable sometimes, man. Like, God damn.
Yeah, Milk as a movie, though, it's fine. Frost Nixon is, like, completely forgettable to me. So, yeah, I would have put Dark Knight as the Best Picture winner. And then WALL-E, Best Picture nominee.
So you think Best Picture should be The Dark Knight? What you just said. Okay. All right. All of my anger's now gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against it.
It's just what that movie accomplishes, man. And not even like, the money and the audiences. Just what is accomplished in that movie with the scope, the IMAX filming, some of the stuff that's done that's just so different for the time.
The Oscars always just get one or two movies that just pick up steam, like in the last few months of the year, and just carry it throughout that voting process.
Oh, I was legitimately frightened last year with Oppenheimer that some bullshit movie that clearly wasn't as good as Oppenheimer was just going to pick up steam because it was just some... Again, it's belittling to something that's probably very good. It just always feels like some bullshit movie that comes out in late November, early December. Yeah. And it's a very small, tight, personal story that will never wow audiences, that will never make an impact other than Oscar season. It's just going to come in, it's going to have a good performance that's going to capture people's attention, and it's just going to steamroll through an award season when it doesn't have the impact, it doesn't actually have it doesn't really have the gravitas to deserve what it's getting. That's just what the Oscars and award season feels like so many times. And I was so concerned where I literally just went, if Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer does not win, this is literally like, somehow we always do it. There's famous signs in pro wrestling in certain events where it's like, there's one from ECW One Night Stand, and it's a total like hardcore crowd that loves just like blood and guts. And John Cena's on the card, and there's literally a sign in the stand hanging from the rafters that says, "If Cena wins, we riot." That's what I felt like with Oppenheimer. I was like, if Oppenheimer loses, the internet will riot. Like the internet will burn this to the ground.
You can look forward to an argument on that when that year comes.
Well, can't wait. Oppenheimer's so good, dude. Oppenheimer's so good.
But don't worry, it's not... My winner is not one of the nominees.
Okay. Obviously, it's Barbie then. So, be great.
You'll be surprised.
So, I think it's easy to say your favorite movie from 2008 is probably Slumdog Millionaire.
WALL-E, easy.
I will say, WALL-E deserves more credit. Does it to make something so abstract that personable is actually a true achievement. I think it deserves. I will say, I was so distracted by The Dark Knight that I did not give enough credit.
The first half of that movie is a silent movie, pretty much.
WALL-E does not get enough credit for some of the stuff it does in it. I don't think it's the best Pixar movie, even of the era, but I think it's damn good.
Yes, it is.
I can't wait until one day you I want to start a new series with you where it's essentially just PowerPoint. And you're just going through slides like a millennial PowerPoint night. And it's just, this is why this is the best. Or it's just you stack ranking stuff and just be like, this is why this is the best. Just because of your opinions on stuff. Wall-E deserves more credit in the Best Picture category as well. I think if I were going to lift two out based on my knowledge of them, definitely Milk feels like it's in because of performance, not because of the movie. And Frost Nixon feels like the one that you kind of... Frost Nixon
Milk is very... Milk won a lot because of... it's very timely.
Yes. Yes, I do know that.
Because it was like... It's in that time where it's like, okay, we're finally accepting of gay people, stuff like that. So it was a timely movie.
It feels a little bit like Milk walks through the door that Brokeback Mountain kicks down.
Pretty much.
It feels like it feels like Brokeback Mountain was the first of its kind, so it just got unnecessarily shit on because it's a gay movie. And you're like, shut up.
Yeah.
And then because we're finally past that first initial phase of stupidity, Milk can kind of go like, I'm great, guys. And you're like, yeah, I mean, yes, you are. You're just not that great. You're good.
Yeah. And
you're not that good.
Milk is definitely nowhere near as good as Brokeback Mountain, so.
It's just more so, Frost Nixon, especially at the time, definitely felt like the one that was in there that you're like, you serious? You're really trying to tell me?
It's completely forgettable. I've seen it. I think I've seen it twice, and I barely remember.
And I like all the actors in it. I really like Lewis. I think Frank Langella's great. I like them both.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those where I just went, you serious right now? You're trying to tell me that this is one of the 5 best movies of the year, and the heaviest hitter of them all is just sitting there, just going, fuck you guys. Okay. Go sniff more of your own farts, idiots.
Yeah.
2008. Take a wild guess what my favorite movie is.
Yeah, I wonder.
Obviously, it's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So, actually, this is another series I wanted to do, another episode, and I only bring it up to finish this episode. This is the longest fucking episode I think we've ever done. But I don't know because I recorded an interview in between sessions of the show, so I don't know. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is one of the 5 most important movies of my lifetime. It's not because it's one of the best or most important. It's one of the most important because it's the first time I left a theater just utterly disappointed. The first time I just went, wait, you can go to the theater and not enjoy your experience?
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever just got like kicked in the nuts and just went.
I think I was still riding high after.
No, the thing is, I went and I was like, well, I like it. I don't love it. And I would love to do a show on some of those. Like, what does it actually mean to do? Yeah, also Step Brothers always deserves a nod in my mind. Step Brothers is great.
Oh, yeah, great movie.
And movie that never gets talked about enough. I think it's one of I think it's one of Kevin Smith's best. Because it actually has the most appeal to a wide range of audience. That Can Mary Make a Porno is actually really fun, good comedy. Really fun movie. Highly recommend. And I think it's the best use of classic Seth Rogen. Actually. I think it's the best use. I think it's the best use of I'm Seth Rogen. I think it's best used by Kevin Smith and Zack and Miri.
I would agree.
Because he kind of gets away from that in Superbad. Because he's kind of actually finally playing a character. But I think it's great in Zack and Miri. So I always give those. But that is going to do it for this very, very, very long-ass episode that I know I'm going to have to do so much editing on. But it's going to be fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you're catching this in when we're doing yearly breakdowns, where it's just a single year that we're talking about, more power to you because you didn't have as long of a show. We're going to be back with some more stuff next week. For Dylan Davies, I am Evan Davies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace, love, and hugs to you all. Goodbye!